Thank you. You're making my life a lot easier. I don't have to introduce you.
They're
They're already here. Fantastic. Okay, well, welcome back, everybody. This is our final run this afternoon. We have 3 more sessions, and we are starting here with something we haven't really discussed so far, and that is the role of yacht crew in our wonderful industry. So just welcoming him to the stage. This is Clive Willenbrock. He's the captain of a 42-metre Explorer yacht, Ocean 7. We've got Levent from Zone 1 Superyacht Group, and Phil Noad, who's representing the Cayman Islands Registry. Welcome, gentlemen. And so we're talking about the realities for yacht crew. There's a lot of talk about lack of skilled crew in the industry, a huge amount of interest in training, and of course it's very interesting to have Phil here too to talk about how the flag states really do affect how you guys work. So just first of all, let the audience know a little bit about you and your career so far.
Hi everybody, my name's Clive Willenbrock. I'm currently the captain of a 42-metre Explorer yacht. The boat actually, rather embarrassingly, is on its way over on the DYT to Florida, but after that we will be going eventually to Alaska and on to the Galapagos and then to Alaska. The owner of the boat is very much for going off the beaten track, and I kind of like that spirit. That's why I'm on that particular vessel at the moment. I've been doing this for 30 years. This is probably not the biggest, well, it isn't the biggest boat I've been on, but it's definitely got one of the more interesting itineraries, and that's what kind of interests me.
Fantastic. And Levent, let's talk about what you do at Zone.
Levent Baktır from Zone Superyacht Group. The company is busy with management, and we have academies in 3 different locations all over the world. Actually in Mediterranean, one in Göcek and the other one in Malta, and the new one in Athens. We are really facing and having the pulse of that issue what we're gonna talk right now. We have lots of stories and lots of points we can discuss on that. We can discuss for days on this matter because it's a bleeding wound of the industry. So I'll be happy to add my comments and everything after that.
Fantastic. And Phil?
Yeah, good afternoon. Phil Noad from the Cayman Islands Shipping Registry. I'm the regional director looking after safety and compliance, but I also work very closely with our shipping master who looks after crew welfare. So areas that we cover, of course, are the concept design of yachts, looking at crew accommodation, and then dealing with ongoing issues, whether it's hours and work and rest issues, contract disputes, etc. So quite a wide field, and manning requirements and that sort of thing, and how we get to it. So happy to cover off any of those items today as best I can.
Fantastic. So I've got a really wide range of knowledge here. Just to begin, I mean, the landscape of crew management must have changed over your career quite significantly. Clive, what kind of challenges do you see as a modern crew and seafarers today?
I think probably the most remarkable thing is the movement towards social media and the way crew perceive work on the yachts. Probably below decks has done a lot of damage. I think it's probably maybe attracted people for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Or distracted the people that would have been maybe better placed. But I think we were talking earlier about the way people train to go on yachts and what their background should be. And I think certainly from my point of view, we normally look for people who've got a practical background and something, it sounds stupid, but somebody who's actually interested in being on yachts or being on the water. If they can demonstrate they've rowed a boat or they do windsurfing or sailing, obviously, anything like that makes them better on a yacht normally. And I think once you've got the person on the boat, the ongoing training is really important. We try and encourage on our boat, and I think the longevity comes from encouraging training and getting people to be actively involved in their own progression, trying to detract people that don't really want to go on in the industry. That's a tricky one, again, because of social media. I think some people are attracted for the wrong reasons.
That below deck effect that has perhaps attracted some people who are more interested in a lifestyle than a seafaring career.
Possibly, yeah.
And in terms of training, you said you encourage your crew to continue.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things you have to do as a captain on a yacht now is to actively encourage people to stay for longevity. I'm talking about longevity. Probably one of the main ways of doing that is by giving time and financing training. And there are so many new things now that there's pretty much nothing you can't actually go and study. Mm-hmm. And with the way yachts have moved in the technology-wise and so on, there are way more things to learn about now. And the young people particularly coming in are very computer savvy and aware of all these things. And I think if you encourage that on the boat, you'll encourage people to stay for longer.
Absolutely. And actually, Levent, we're talking about the crew training. I mean, that's you've got a lot of special knowledge there. Can you talk a little bit about that for us?
When it comes to training, it's as I said, it's a bleeding wound of the industry, and qualified crew members are the most critical need of the industry as well. So what we are expecting from the new crew members, I mean newcomers, because we don't need the same crew members what we had in 20 years back. We have new modernized crew members right now, and they do need some skills. May I use my reminders?
Absolutely.
Can we have in equal conditions?
Yeah.
So the modern crew members, I mean modern yachting, needs some technical and interpersonal and soft skills. They need to be immersed by the new crew members. When it comes to technical proficiency, we can count the headlines like the navigation or operational knowledge is very important, and hospitality and culinary skills are important as well, because what we are doing, I always say in my interviews and also when I'm in the class, what is the difference between hotel and a yacht? I mean, 5-star or 7-star hotel, let's name it like this. Just, we have one single difference, is that one is floating, the other one is not. It is the top hotelier business we are in. We have to be a hotel manager. We have to manage a hotel. That's why that hospitality and the culinary skills and hotelier skills are very important. So in addition to this one, what we are talking about, interpersonal skills, like guest relations, team collaboration, and conflict resolution as well. And we need ability to manage high net worth individuals, who they are, our clients and guests on board. And so we need to learn about diplomacy. We need to learn about cultural sensitivity of them as well. What we are expecting from the crew members, what I say. And the team collaboration is very important, because they are living in multicultural and multilingual places, which is on board the yacht, and in living quarters and shared cabins, and they have to ensure that harmony and efficiency within the yacht. And also, what we are expect also, adaptability and flexibility is very important for newcomers, new generation crew members. They have to be flexible to each other and to the guests as well, because sometimes what we know, we don't need to hide the reality that sometimes we have guests, they are living in the edge of the everything. They have to manage, they have to flex, they have to be flexible, they have to know how to manage that crowd, that guest population on board, and how to deal with them. Also, what we are expecting from the newcomers, that they have to know about something about technology proficiency as well, and smart systems what we are using on board right now, like operational and entertainment systems what we are using, and also yacht management systems and softwares and applications. They have to get close to that kind of softwares and IT mind also. And the cybersecurity, one of the very important, because we are dealing with, again, high network people, and their security and their, say, crypto-based lives are very important, should not be exposed to anyone. And they have to know how can deal with the cybersecurity and that thing. And cultural competence is very important as well. And of course, not the cultural, competence within the crew members. Of course, what we are expecting, they have to know about the tailoring experiences with the multilingual and the cultural preferences of the guests as well. And this is generally what I can say for the newcomers and what we are expecting. What we need to feed them, we need to upload them with that kind of load of skills. What I can say, but I will say something else later on. This is going to be the question. I may add another 2 skills as well, like financial oversight for the senior crew members, senior officers, and the chief stewardess, level. They have to manage the budgets and operating costs and that stuff. And also, we need them to know about something about event planning on board and problem solving as well, because modern world, modern yachting industry expects some innovation and creativity on board from the newcomers. But again, my last word on this, from the expectations to the reality, what kind of yacht training modules we have covering all these right now? None.
Yeah, because that's a huge amount of subjects.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah. And I will tell something else later on. I will add on this. This is something we need to solve, this, problem totally. I mean, for a long, future, to have proper and skilled crew members in the future of the yachting. I will add later on.
Okay, we'll circle back
the solution
to that.
or whatever we can call.
We'll circle back, but just for the time being, Phil, from your perspective, what are the kind of regulatory hurdles that crew and owners need to kind of navigate? I mean, we've just talked about so many different subjects there, but what are the things you hear about most in your role at the Cayman Islands Registry?
The one that jumps out looking back sort of 20 years is that when we first started having commercial yachts, the expectations of guests were different, the vessels were less complicated, we didn't have the cumbersome toys to deal with, but manning levels, the minimum safe manning levels, the guides, have pretty much stayed as they are. And I think it's often designers overlook these additional expectations, additional complications, whether it's even washing down the yacht when you've got a full beam deck house, you're doing voyages which vessels are going further and you're going to need more watchkeepers, you're going to need more crew to handle a large tender because everyone's trying to squeeze in the biggest tender in the smallest hole. So there's a lot of things that have changed over the last 20 odd years, but manning levels haven't really kept the pace. And I think we all understand that fatigue is one of the biggest issues, either accidents, incidents, and stress. But we still need to be a bit more grown up, I think, sometimes on some size of vessels by some designers say, listen, we need to, just to have better crew retention, to give a better owner experience. And to attract more people into the industry, we need to spend a bit more attention on the crew accommodation and not go to the minimum standards. And it's quite interesting, when I do a lot of meetings with owners before they get to a shipyard, so pre-contractual meetings, it's interesting to hear some owners are very much focused on that. They see the crew as an extension of their family. Often they keep a yacht for a long time, some do with their children. So some are very, very interested in the crew, and of course at the other scale, they want to have maximized guest space. But that creates problems, and then you do see, and this is where we tend to see the issues emerging later on. The vessel's delivered, and the mission of the vessel has changed a little bit, and then you get crew burnout, and then that's when we get all our sort of seafarer welfare issues coming to the light. And it's quite difficult retrospectively to deal with that. In some worst cases, we've had to give up a guest cabin to accommodate crew, so that's one way that we can measure it. Other ways we go about it is having a meeting with the owner's office and looking at how they use the vessel and how better they could more structure it, have itineraries, reduce guest expectations, and it's quite interesting on some of the operations that we've been involved in. They said, actually, in fact, the guests preferred a sort of semi-structured itinerary, a bit like a mini cruise ship style, because often they're twiddling their thumbs, not knowing what to do with their time, so they suddenly invent something to do, and of course that caused complete chaos for the hours and work and rest on board, and the passage planning, and all these other things sort of fall away. So, it's a big area, but and I can go on looking at the consequences of it, but to me, it's being honest and realistic about the levels of manning, because when you're looking at our guidance on manning, we're only looking at the mooring, unmooring, the navigation, and even there, the navigation, the master's doing a watch, where in the merchant shipping industry, the master doesn't do a watch, so you have an additional watchkeeper, and that allows the master to get on with other parts of the business, if you like. So yeah, manning to me is still, we haven't cracked it over these 20 years. We still have got vessels of a certain size where probably a bit too much emphasis is put on on some of the owner's space. Of course, it is for the owner's pleasure. We understand that. I'll take an example. I had a 60-meter yacht, and one they managed to allow a nice big crew mess and a crew lounge. On the other one, that crew lounge was taken away and given to the owner. But of course, crew messes are not just used for eating; they're used for entertainment. They're used for briefing. They're used, for going through drill scenarios. So these other spaces, are quite key to me the welfare of the crew, and it has lots of implications if you don't look after that.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, actually. And lots of newer build yachts have these enormous beach club situations, which means the crew quarters are smaller and smaller and smaller. There just isn't enough space.
Absolutely.
You're right, and you must have seen that in the last 30 years.
And I think MLC is trying to address some of this. On the smaller boats, it's much more difficult to deal with that, because giving a person cabin space more than a couple of square meters on a small boat is very difficult. And obviously, if you've got a boat with 100 meters plus boat with 50 plus crew, the dilution of tasks is much better, so you can more delegate a specific task to crew members. Whereas on the smaller boats, you have to kind of be a jack of all trades and do much more things, and you might be called upon to do something which is outside your job spec.
Find people doubling up, captain, engineer, deckhand, engineer,
Yeah, just helping out other departments when it's busy. I think this is, for me, it's probably very important to have a good relationship with your owner, because if you can talk to the owner and you just nicely and kindly point out certain things or suggest ways that they could have a better time if they're going to be busy or out late one night, the next day crew will be busy, so some crew have to sleep and so on. These sort of things, if you can't communicate that to the owner, then that creates a real problem.
And that's becomes dangerous situation for everyone, isn't it?
And hours of rest are another thing which is a kind of a big bugbear for crew, because you have to fill out to say that you haven't worked more than a certain number of hours, you've had enough sleep. For most yachts, I would say, certainly the smaller boats, you will have to exceed those. It's not possible to run as per the book, if you like, so you've got to then give compensatory rest.
And I guess it's that kind of slightly old school attitude as, well, we just get on with it, but it's not the right way necessarily
you have to be
do
careful,
things, is it? No,
I think I'm old school because I'm old, but I think if you're not careful with that, you can dig yourself a hole. You can't have people, I wouldn't just say young people, but any people getting fatigued because they've worked too longer hours. We did certain things because we're only 9 on our boat. So if you're doing an itinerary where you can't be in marinas, which is another problem for crew, you have to be at anchor. You need an anchor watch. If you've only got 3 on deck, one person is going to do the anchor watch, or you dilute the day crew to take turns. But that's worse, because then people have broken sleep, and that doesn't fit with MLC's side of things for hours of rest.
Yeah.
So I think it's very much a question of being able to talk to the owner and suggest an itinerary that's feasible and tenable. And if you can do that, then everybody will have a happy life, including the guests.
Otherwise, the kind of pressure to be able to conform to something that's, almost nigh on impossible is going to make people burn out very quickly.
Yeah.
And when we talk about crew retention, that's an important point, right?
Yeah.
Like burnout is a reality that lots of
yeah.
people suffer, especially if they're sort of 10 plus years into their career.
Yeah. Well, it's another interesting one, because now I'm finding that most crew want rotation.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get crew that don't or aren't looking for rotation, or they'll suggest it once they're on the boat. Rotation brings other problems because then you've got to amalgamate different crews at different times. I think the best one I've seen is the 3-1 rotation. So you have 2 extra crew members on a small boat and you rotate deck and interior with the extra 2 crew members. But rotation, I think, is probably the way it's going to go because it's got so much publicity and everybody's looking for it, basically.
Do you think that's the way to solve the problems we've just discussed, is rotation, or is there another way to do it, in your opinion?
You still have the same number of people on the boat, but the people who are coming on the boat maybe are fresher.
Yeah.
It kind of depends. We have rotating engineers, because the engineers on our boat it's the transitional size. You've only got 1 engineer, you've got 1 chef. So both those jobs are enormous. You can't really leave the boat. It's extremely busy. So I think if we didn't give the engineer a rotation, we'd find it impossible to find somebody. And quite rightly, because they literally can't leave the boat, because it's when they get off, there'll be a emergency or a toilet blocked or something.
No, exactly that. So engineers, and I know it's very highly competitive, the good engineering jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Very much so. Okay. Okay, let's just circle back. We said we were going to circle back, so let's circle back.
I got my word. Right, so can I continue where I,
Yeah, please do.
Stop. It's very important what Clive said, that rotation can be a solution for many problems in the life cycle of that industry. But either you have the rotation or not. The conditions are not changing. Because let's say they are working generally 18 or let's say 16 hours in a day, and mostly when the guests are on board, and it's completely out of MLC requirements. It's completely out of the scope and everything, and then the living conditions can be questioned. It is very hard. It is very hard. It's not like what is seen from outside. And my first question: Can we change the the cycle of usage of that beast? I mean the yacht. And can we change the hours? Can we change the usage standards of a yacht? And my answer is no. It's impossible. We cannot stop the guest, we cannot stop the owner, we cannot stop the demand, we cannot stop that and that and that. But to find a solution, we may add something, we may add some sort of solution-oriented clauses or something to MLC to relieve the industry, to find something in the middle, okay? And not totally block the system, but bring everyone to the middle. And when it comes to bring someone into the middle, and that crew members, and we are talking about crew members, and the standards of crew members are very poor now. And the skilled personnel, we have problems with the skilled personnel, and as Kerem said, and they have the problem with skilled personnel as well. Okay, and how we get it, and it is not, as I said, none of the what is required. I counted before. It's not in the training curriculum. None of the training curriculum, either MCA or Malta or Turkey or Marshall Islands, whatever. None of the yacht crew training module does have that kind of criteria. So we are away from the curriculum, what the yachting industry needs, and so how we can, and when it comes to STCW, it is standing for Standards of Training and Certification of Watchkeeping Convention, and is it including yachting industry? Is it focusing the yachting industry? It is not. We have to find something else. We have to add something else to unite and unified training system, including what I counted before, and including what the industry needs, and including it should be included in the STCW and should point or guide all the flag states, which IMO member flag states, what I mean, and on their create their curriculum on the yacht training. So what is needed is what I call it as STCW-Y, and it's the Y for yachting or yachts, whatever. And because we presently have an appendix to STCW, which is called STCW-F for fishing industry. We don't need to discover America again, the continent, but we have, while we have that kind of appendix, we can add a yacht-oriented appendix to the convention. And with this way, I call all the flag states, taking that opportunity to call all the flag states and all the training providers and all our hands affected with this absence onto the table to create a proper yacht training to have skilled personnel for the future.
I like that. That's a fantastic idea. And is there any last words you guys have had? I know that we're short on time, so is there anything you'd like to add at the panel? And so just in the audience, has anyone got any questions for us? If you do, raise your hands and we'll get you a mic. Yes, over here. We've got a microphone, please. Well, there will be a mic. Thanks.
Well, hello again. Mr. Levent Baktır, you said about yacht training. So, do you think that regarding this training, the crew should have it from his own before the embarkation on the yacht, or the owner should take care for further trainings about their crew in order to make their level high for the clients? What do you think about that?
As I understand correctly, you mean the investing their crew members, right?
Yes.
The owners.
I mean the crew.
This is a dream, to be honest, and not only owner willing to, there's some owners, yes, of course, we respect that kind of owners. Some owners, they do send their crew members for specialized trainings like Superyacht hospitality or say wining or dining or something like silver service, and also some again refreshing of safety systems, and the safety concerns, and also different trainings what they are generally willing for their crew. Yes, but we cannot force owners on this way. I see flex days are going to be responsible for to unify and to standardize this kind of trainings. All right, they are the main point. Main administration is the main body to regulate everything.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much, and thank you for joining us, chaps.
Thank you.
Come along. Yeah, thanks very much, Clive. No, you're very welcome. Thank you. Cheers, Phil. Right.